In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How are you, dear students? I hope you all are doing well. This is Pakistan International School Types Virtual Learning System for the session 2020. I welcome you all in first year biology class. This is lecture number 13 and we are gonna start chapter number 2 of biology, that is biological molecules or biomolecules. So dear students, our today's topic is biological molecules in protoplasm and its importance of water. In the previous lectures, you have completed chapter number 1, and in that you have seen all the like structures and organelles which are present in the protoplasm. Okay, so let's get started. This is chapter number 2 and we are gonna see biological molecules, and in this chapter we will study biological molecules in protoplasm, importance of water, carbohydrates, because after the water we will see all fundamental chemicals or biomolecules which are present in the cell or in protoplasm. So then we will see detailed structure and function of proteins, then about lipids, nucleic acids, and conjugated molecules. So we will see what are biological molecules in protoplasm. Protoplasm, actually, we know that all the content which is present in the cell, including nucleoplasm and cytoplasm. So we know that the molecules or biological molecules are different chemical compounds of living beings. So a study of these biological molecules or biomolecules, that is called biochemistry, and that is the branch of biology. Like in living organism, we study about different type of chemicals, molecules, or those molecules which we are gonna see in the next topics as well. First of all, we will see composition of protoplasm, that biological molecules are having different proportions in protoplasm. What are these? So approximately 25 elements out of 92 naturally occurring elements are biogenic or bioelements, or they are present in living organisms, almost 25. In human beings, 16 elements are present. So bioelements combine to form thousands of molecules. And if we see here that what type of 16 elements are present in human beings, 6 are commonest biomolecules. 6 are major and they constitute 99% of human body, and they are, we know, oxygen 65%, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus as well. They are having different percentages. So you can see here, if we see the percentage, like more than 60, it means 65% of oxygen, then carbon almost 20%, 18 to 20, then hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus is 1%. So, but these are major bioelements. But out of these 6 major bioelements, Some minor bioelements are also present in the living organisms and that are found less than 1% in our body, where those that are found as less than 0.01% of the protoplasm are called trace elements. So we can say that bioelements are of three types. One are they are major bioelements, the other are minor bioelements, and the third category is trace elements. So almost 1% of like quantity is minor elements like potassium, sulfur, chlorine, sodium, and magnesium. Trace elements which are less than 0.01%, but they are very, very important indeed in the living organisms because in like we can say decrease or increase of these elements can cause certain disorders or diseases in human beings. So they are iron. So iron is although the trace element, but this is the only element in the trace elements which is present in every type of living organisms. Then we are having copper, manganese, zinc, and iodine. So three types of bioelements we have studied which are present in protoplasm. So actually protoplasm's chemical composition is composed of these three types of elements. So if we compare bacterial cell with the mammalian cell, so we can say that water is almost 70% in both of them. So what type of quantity they are having in different? Protein, bacterial cell is 15% and mammalian 18%. Carbohydrates, bacterial cell is having 3, but mammalian cell is having 4%. Lipids, they are having 2% and mammalian cell is having 3%, DNA bacterial cell is having 1%, and mammalian cell is having 0.25%. So other organic compounds, they are enzymes, hormones, and certain metabolites. They are 2 equally, and inorganic they are also 1%. So these type of bioelements which we have discussed here that 16 type of bioelements are present. So when they combine, they form thousands of bioelements, biomolecules. So these bioelements, when they combine, they form molecules. So those are called biomolecules, and they are of different categories, number inorganic and organic one. So inorganic, there are lots of minerals which are present in the human body, and there is water as well, that is inorganic compound. And if we talk about organic compounds, so carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids are there. So we will discuss them one by one in detail. So right now we are gonna see here 4 fundamental biomolecules, because in this chapter we are gonna see in detail structure and function and its types and all the stuff about these 4 types of bioelements. So if we see not bioelements, actually biomolecules, which are made up of hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen, we know they are what? They are organic molecules. So they are fundamental because our whole body's structure is dependent on these 4 biomolecules. Including other substances. So first, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is the requirement of every living organism, especially the human beings, and that is present in all type of inclusions of the cells. Inclusions are actually various type of nutrients which are present in the cells, as well as some pigments also. So they are the parts of the pigments also, for example, but they are not having a great role, metabolic role in the cell or in the body, but they are very, very important in the body. So for example, we are having glycogen, we are having some pigments like melanin, so they are called as inclusions of the cells. And carbohydrates are having great. Okay, then we will see proteins in detail in the next few lectures. So proteins is present in the membranes, as well as they are present in the ribosomes. As we know that ribosomes are the factory of protein synthesis, and they are also present in cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton is having the like much amount of protein, and as you have studied in chapter number 1 also, that cytoskeleton is having different type of proteins, tubulin protein, also we have studied about that. Okay, so then we are talking about, we will talk about enzymes. So enzymes are also protein based. You have studied this in detail in the previous classes, So next we'll talk about lipids. So they are also present in the membranes of Golgi complex as well, because it like it is having the metabolism of lipid, and this is also present in inclusions of cell. Inclusions of cells are also included lipids. Extra lipids is present in the cells, and they provide the wide reserve of energy. So that is energy source, a great energy source for a human being, and it gives a shape and protection and support to the cell, as we know, because they are present in the membranes. So as you have studied lipid bilayer of cell membrane, that is fluid mosaic model, so lipids is present in the cell membranes, as well as carbohydrates are also present over there, and carrier proteins and other type of proteins are also present in the membranes. Then we will see nucleic acids, that is deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid, it's called DNA and RNA. They are completely made up of nucleic acids, and the basic function of that, they transmit genetic information, and they are having great role in protein synthesis. How does it happen? We will see in detail, inshallah. Yes, dear students, we have seen just a brief introduction of these biomolecules. We know that bioelements, when they combine with one another, so they form biomolecules. So there are two types of biomolecules. We know that one is micromolecules and other are macromolecules. As we know that macromolecules are having high molecular weight, and they are also called polymers. And micromolecules are having less weight, like water, like glucose, and macromolecules like lipids and carbohydrates, so they are macromolecules. Mono means one and mers means molecules, so micromolecules are having one molecule. Okay, when it combine with other molecule, other monomers, it is called dimer. It is called dimer, means two molecules. When it this dimer combines with other molecules, so it will be called a trimer, and then gradually it forms polymer. Okay, so polymer is having large number of molecules in that. Okay, so how these type of molecules are formed? There are two types of processes which we'll see in this chapter in detail, and that is interconversion of both of the molecules, like of both micro monomers into polymers or polymers into monomers, that is done with condensation and hydrolysis. Actually, some hydro means water and lysis means breakdown. So with the help of water, those molecule breakdown of polymer is done. This is called hydrolysis. Okay, so sometimes we are confused between the form that is hydration. Hydration is not hydrolysis. In hydration, no chemical reaction is done, only the water is added and something is, we can say, is wet or it is dissolved simply, but hydrolysis is having chemical reaction in that. So when two monomers join like this, two monomers join, you can see here. So what happened? Hydroxyl group of one and hydrogen of other is removed. So how, for example, this is one monomer and this is other. So here at one corner it is having hydroxyl group, so it is removed out, and from here a hydrogen is removed out. So when these two hydrogen and hydroxyl groups are removed out, they are removed out as water. When they removed out as water, this is called condensation, means they are gonna join now. So this bond from which hydroxyl and hydrogen ions are removed, so they combine like this and dimer is formed. And like this, polymer chain is also formed. From every two molecules, hydroxyl and hydrogen ions are released. What happened in hydrolysis? This is a reverse of condensation actually. So here in condensation, water is removed, and in hydrolysis, water is added. In this dimer, what happened when water is added in that? So there's chemical reaction going on. Hydrogen is added to one molecule from where the hydrogen was removed, and hydroxyl group was added to the other molecule from where the hydroxyl group was removed in the condensation. So in reverse, uh, that dimer is broken down and they become two monomers. This is called hydrolysis. Means by the addition of hydro water, what happened? Lysis of the uh, polymer is being done. So hydrolysis is, like, you can give the example of digestion, like carbohydrate is broken down into smaller molecules, but for both of them we know that lots of enzymes are required, because that is metabolism of the body, and enzymes are needed here. And for example, carbohydrases to break carbohydrate, proteases to break proteins, lipases to break lipids, and nucleases to break nucleic acids. Okay, so up to here we have discussed condensation and hydrolysis, the basic procedures or basic steps of formation or breaking of the molecules. Now we'll see importance of water. We know that 2 by 3 means 2/3 of like 2/3 more than this earth is covered with the water, and 70% of any organism is having water in its body. So lowest water rate is present in the seeds and in the bones. It is almost 20%. Highest content is present in human being in the brain cells. and that is 85 to 90%. But if we see overall in all the organisms, so jellyfish is the organism which is having almost 99% of water, and you know it looks transparent umbrella like structure, so it gives, this water gives it transparency. Okay, so in importance of water topic, we have to first study about properties of water, because before we have studied about condensation and hydrolysis. So in condensation and hydrolysis, there is the step in or step out of uh, water. So water is the main content here, because water acts as the major solvent, and as well as it is handle the cradle of life. So all the metabolic activities are done in the presence of water. There are some properties by which water is important, important, that how can it happen that all the metabolic activities are present in the water, not any other solvent is required for that. So first of all, we'll talk about high polarity. Water is polar substance. Have you heard before? If you heard this before, so you you can understand that water is actually non-polar. Not how non-polar, sometimes it behaves non-polar, partial polarity, and sometimes high polarity. So how does it happens, we will see here. This is actually the water's structure. We know that there is oxygen and two hydrogen atoms. So these two hydrogen atoms got partial positive and oxygen got partial negative charge. These lone pair of electrons of hydrogen, they are slightly just attracts towards a negative polarity of oxygen. That's why they got partial positive and partial negative sign. So these electrons are pulled towards oxygen due to its slightly more negativity. So in water, oxygen atom has a slight negative and hydrogen is having slight positive charge. So that's why it makes polar covalent bonds. We know that when the electrons share, so when the bonds are formed by mutual sharing of the electrons, so we know that covalent bonds are formed, and that is non-polar. But in case of water, what happened? The sharing of electrons between oxygen and hydrogen is not completely equal. So the covalent bond is polar. It is not completely equal because these lone pair electrons are just attracted more towards negative pole of oxygen. So due to this polarity, water molecules make it an excellent, superb universal solvent. So that's why all ionic compounds or electrolytes are dissolved in water because it got slightly positive and slightly negative polar charges. So in ionic compound, positive moves towards negative and negative moves towards positive. Okay, so but somehow non-polar substances having charged groups in their molecules can also be dissolved in water. Such compounds, when dissolved in water, dissociate into positive and negative ions and are more favorable, stable to react with other molecules and ions. So water is very much required for its like for all the metabolic activities, because lots of metabolites, lots of non-polar substances as well, they are they can be dissolved in or can do chemical reaction in the presence of water. Now we will see hydrogen bonding. That is very, very important, as we know that polarity of water molecules makes them interact with one another. That makes hydrogen bond attract, sorry, towards one another. So you can see here the water is a polar substance, partial positive, partial positive. This hydrogen will make bond or attract towards this negative of the other molecule of water, negative oxygen of other molecule of water. And here is also positive, here is also positive. It will attract with another oxygen molecule of the water because it is having the negative charge. Like that, here is also negative, here is positive, here is positive, so it will attract with other negative charge of oxygen of other water molecules. So like that, water molecules are attracted towards one another. And when this hydrogen of this water molecule is attracted towards a negative of oxygen, so this make the hydrogen bond. This hydrogen bond is represented by dotted lines, and this is weak bond, we know. So when there is like any type of reaction, this bond can easily broken down and water can dissipate into its molecules. So there are two forces, cohesion and adhesion. We have just studied before in previous classes. Like cohesion means the interaction of water molecules with other water molecule, and addition means water molecules with the surface of the container or with any other surface in which we keep the water, like in the jug, in the glass. The water sticks with the that pot or any type of substances, so that is called addition force. So this is very much two important forces, and this is due to the quality of hydrogen bonding, and that hydrogen bonding can be easily broken down. Because of this hydrogen bonding, water is a liquid at temperatures suitable for life. Because whenever the temperature gets higher, as we can see when we boil the water, so what happens? It changes its form into just steam or gas form. So at our body temperature, the water is in the water form, in the liquid form. So that is due to this hydrogen bonding. Okay, dear students, up to here, we have discussed two properties of water, high polarity and hydrogen bonding, which is very, very important properties regarding the reactions, chemical reactions of the substances with the water. Inshallah, we'll continue this topic in the next lecture. Wish you all the best.